Daf Kuf Zayin, we're taking it from Kuf Zayin Amud Bet, second line. Continuing with Ayin Hara. Vehesir Hashem Mecha Kol Holi. Hashem shall remove the illnesses. Amarav Zu Ayin is referring to Ayin Hara. Rav Ta'amen, Rav, of course, the one reason. The Rav Salik Lebe Kivre, one time Rav went to the cemetery. Avad Mada Avid, he checked out, did the magic to see what's going on there, to see why people died. Amar Tishin B'Tish'a B'Ayin Hara. 99 people died from Ayin Hara, Ve'echad B'Derech Eretz, and one naturally. Shmuel says, Zeh haruach. That sickness is referring to the wind. Shmuel Taman Shmuel goes according to his own reasoning. That what? Tamar Shmuel, Hakol of Baruach, all sicknesses come through the wind. But there are also people who get killed by the government, for example, not just the wind. Whereas he answers, Hanach Nami, those two people as well, Ilav Zika, if it wasn't for the wind that blows on people, I'd be able to reheal. Rabbi Hanan says, this sickness is referring to the cold. Everything's in the hands of God. Except for cold and fever. Person's in charge of his own body to make sure that he dresses correctly to protect him from elements so he doesn't get sick. Referring to excrement. Secretions of the nose and the ear. A lot of them is bad on the person, but if it's small, it's all good. That says the sickness is referring to the gallbladder. Says, well, Mahala, the Pasuk says sickness. Zumara is referring to the gallbladder. Why is it for cold sickness? Because it makes the entire body sick. The translation Mahala has 83 gematria. The 83 sicknesses can come from the gallbladder. The kulan and all of them. The melach can be helped by having bread with salt. The keton shemaim and drinking water. And that stops the sicknesses. So 13 things were said about the good about eating morning bread. It helps a person from heat and cold. From winds and demons. And from makes foolish people smart. And helps a person success. And Bedin, the motor med to help you study and teach. With the average mind, and also a person is heard better if he eats bread in the morning. But the Tamandumat came also stays with him, the learning stays with him, and it won't sweat as much. He'll be with his wife and not desire a different woman. He'll kill the bugs in the intestines. Additionally, it'll take out jealousy and bring in friendliness. All this because the person eats in the morning, he's more satiated, and therefore he'll be in a better state of mind. From here, we could say that people, 60 people ran. They didn't catch up to the person who had bread in the morning. Ramadan. Get early, wake up early in the day because of the heat. Have a high definition and wake up early because of the cold. Marley explains that لا يعرفوا يلتهم لا يكم شراب بشمش لا يكم شراب بشمش كيفن لا يعرفوا the person should not be struck by heat and sun if he had bread and water in the morning. Marley you brought me a pasuk from there but I'm not bring you a pasuk you serve God Zukret Shema Tfilah friends Shema and Tfilah Berachet Nachal Etrecha Zub Pat Melech Viton Shemaim Mikan Ve'elach V'Hasir Mechal Krecha if you have bread and salt the pasuk then says I'll remove sickness. Amar Rav Huda Rav Ada Mishaha'ar we told Rav Ada the surveyor the guy who used to measure land for sales. Don't treat your handiwork lightly. Because every single ounce of land you're able to grow saffron. Saffron's very expensive. So even though it's small, you could use that land for something else. So therefore, don't make mistakes. Be careful. Same person. The 4 amot on each side of the irrigation canal, you should treat lightly. Yani let them they shouldn't plant there. Because in the actual 4 amot of the river, don't measure at all. Don't let people grow anything out there. He agrees with himself. The 4 amot on the sides of the irrigation canal. It should only be used for those people who live there. Then hara for the river, the kulama is harmful to everybody because people need access. Machriz Rabbi Ami, he made an announcement. Melo kitfen nagadi. The strip of land the size of a person's shoulders to carry stuff. You should clear the trees and vegetation on both sides of the river so a person like that can carry stuff out of the river. gave permission to people to cut 16 amot of the river. Atula ben Mashronya, the Panu, when the people came and they attacked him. Why? Who sabar Kshudarabim? He held it's like public property, therefore you could clear it. But oh, here it's not true. Atam Ba'ina Kulahai. You only need that space for people to pass through. Over there, though, they needed the space to pull the ropes. And that the width of a person carrying stuff is enough. You don't need to clear 16 amot. Rabbi Ravuna lived by a forest, by the river. I remember they told him, more, cut down your trees. Let the people who have their forests above me and behind me cut their trees first. Then I'll cut it. Meaning, there's no point of me cutting if no one else will cut. The Gemara says, how can he say that? The Pasuk says, you shall straighten yourself and then others. Correct yourself, then worry about others. So he should have cut down his trees before making other people do it. The Gemara says, over there, the forest belonged to the governor. He said, if he cuts it down, then I'll cut down mine. They don't cut down theirs. Why should I cut down mine? The Imam Telu could pull the ropes in the river, they'll walk there. They won't. Therefore, if the governor doesn't cut his trees, it's pointless for me. One time Rabbi was traveling on a boat. He saw the forest by that river. He said, the man who it belongs to. The Rabbi belongs to the river. He said, the people, the princes, were first to be betraying. This Chacham is the person who's not listening to halacha. He said, cut it. And Kotsu, they cut it. He found his trees cut down. He says, man, the cuts, whoever cut it down, his branches will be cut down. And sure enough, during all those years, he never had a child that survives. Everybody should contribute towards the gates of the city. Even orphans have to submit because they also need protection. They don't need rabbis don't need protection, and because they have zahut. Ever to pay for digging of a well, after the banan, everybody has to pay because they also need water. The only time we said that's referring to where they didn't actually work it physically. Then you have to pay for it. But if they actually physically worked it to dig it, then Hamin don't join. The Rabban law it's not kabod for them to go work. Man, labor. Marvida. The Kaya de Arab digging out a river to clear it. That the downriver must help the upriver because need that. But the upriver don't need to help the downriver because it doesn't affect me. It's not my problem. But the opposite is true regarding clearing away the ditch in order to carry rainwater. Because the higher has to help out the lower because they need the lower, while the lower does not need the above. Verses as well. There are 5 gardens supplied with one stream. When the Kamayan and the stream was damaged, everybody has to help the upper garden if that's where the damage is. The lower guy automatically helps 2, 3, 4, and 5. I think that's smart, but if it was by himself, it was by number 1, he has to fix it by himself because only he's affected. They had their cut off into one drain. When the ditch became damaged, everybody has to help the lower one. If that's what the question is, the top guy has to help everybody. But if it's by him, he has to only repair it himself because it only affects him. The guy who takes possession of land near the riverbanks, he's a chutzpah because he harms them. They can't kiss him because there's no legal way to evict him, and it's not nice because he's obstructing the property there. But nowadays that the Persian government used to write deeds to whoever takes property and pay tax. They say that the person can acquire yourself land in the river until the depth of the water can reach a horse's neck. They can acquire very deep. So look, we can remove him for sure because it is whoever belonged to it. You can't just take that property because it must have belonged to someone whoever paid the tax beforehand. A person who takes possession of a property between brothers or partners. There's 2 brothers own property A and C, and someone takes the property in between them or partners. Not nice. You should have given them a chance to buy it. So looking at saying, but you can't force them to kiss it. You could actually physically remove it from him. But if it's only because of the border hold problem, you can't remove him. Meaning, if the land in between was taken by brothers or partners, they have the right to remove them and take the property and buy the property. If it's just the neighbor should have first dibs to that property, but you can't force it out. I feel even just a regular neighbor can remove it. You should do what's right. Let's say the guy came to buy the property and he said, can I go buy the field? He asked the neighbor, I know you have first dibs, but can I go buy it? Yeah, go buy it. Does he have to formally make a kinyan on that agreement, or just the verbal is okay? So, Yani, can the guy come back after me giving problems or not? He doesn't have to make a kinyan. You have to make a kinyan. You do need to make a kinyan. Now that you said you need a kinyan, if you did not make the requirement, any increase or decrease in value happens to the neighbor. Meaning, if the price went up, the neighbor gets the price went down, the neighbor gets that. He's able to force the guy to sell it to him, and he either gains or loses that profit or loss. Let's say that someone else bought the property for 100 zuz. They really worth 200 zuz. So you got a good deal. Now, Hazina, we have to see why you got a good deal. If he was going to sell it at a discount to anybody, and now the neighbor wants to buy it from him, the neighbor can give him $100 because you didn't help me. But if the owner did not discount it to anybody else and he just got a good deal because he knew the guy, the neighbor has to pay him the $200, 200 zuz and take the land because he wouldn't have gotten a discount and give him the $100. Now, what about the opposite? Let's say he bought the land for 200, was worth 100. Maybe they thought, the neighbor can tell him, you as like were practically a shliach, and a shliach can only help me, not hurt me, therefore I should only pay you 100, not 200. He says, nope. No such thing as price flood by land. You can always overpay for land, and therefore you have to overpay. Now, let's say the seller sold him a land in the middle of properties. Hazinan, we see. He is the buriti. Is it superior land or poor land than the other properties? It's vini, then it's a good sale. Meaning, if it's different than the other properties, then he had in mind just sell that middle property out of all the other properties. Vilo, but if the middle field is different than other fields, he is trying to trick him. Because what's he trying to do? The buyer actually wants to buy the other fields, field A and C around it. So what does he do? He buys the middle one so that he's considered one of the neighbors. And now he wants to buy field A, which is nailed next to Z of somebody else, now that he's a new neighbor. That is a scam, and that doesn't work. Matanam let ba mishum dina debar mitzvah. Let's say a gift. I give a gift. I give a gift to Shimon, field B, and the guy from field A can't complain. Hey, you should have given me first rights because I didn't sell it to him. If I was selling, yes, I have to give you first rights to buy it, but I'm giving it to him as a gift. And therefore, there's no, you don't have any problems. However, if you wrote a guarantee for the land that if it gets confiscated, I have to replace the land, then it's practically a sale. And the neighbor can protest and steal it away. Amen.